Welcome to tonight's web presentation and hybrid event. My name is Kim Meredith. I'm the Executive Director for the Mercer University Center for Career and Professional Development. We are coming to you live tonight from a classroom at the Henry County Regional Academic Center. And we are in classroom 141 here in the center in McDonough, Georgia. And we are making tonight's presentation available via Zoom to any Mercer student from any campus location or even online. So it's my honor to be with you today. I have some guests with me that I'll be introducing soon. Tonight's presentation is all about career fairs and career expo preparation. We expect our presentation would last right about 50 to 55 minutes, and we will have time for questions and answers this evening. We really just want to make sure everyone leaves the presentation tonight feeling very empowered to get ready to attend the Mercer Career Fairs, but also any others that you may have on your radar that may not be a Mercer experience. Right now, if you would, go ahead and just pull out your phone and scan this QR code to get signed in to our event. That'll just take 1 or 2 minutes. And even though your phone is going to indicate that you should enter your Mercer University email address, it is absolutely fine for you to just enter your MUID number. Take just a few minutes to do that. So even if this presentation is being broadcast in a classroom where there are groups of students, it's our goal for every individual student to sign in by scanning the QR code. That just gives us a record of your attendance. Honestly, the Handshake Career Development Platform is tracking your attendance. But mostly that allows us to be able to send you a recording and any resources from tonight's presentation as well, because we know who you are. So please take just a minute. If you do choose to enter your Mercer email address, you'll want to enter your name version, which is your first name dot last name at live.mercer.edu. It's not using the number because Handshake won't accept the number version of your email. And don't worry, that QR code will come back on the screen a little bit later, so we'll have another chance if I flip the screen a little too fast. But let us get started tonight with Career Fair and Career Expo presentation. Again, my name is Kim Meredith. I'm the Executive Director of the Mercer University Center for Career and Professional Development. I am joined with me by my very good colleague, Ginika Anachabed, who is our career consultant. Ginika is seated on the Mercer University Atlanta campus in the ACC building on the 5th floor, where we have a career center office there. And she is newly joining our team. She is a Mercer graduate from December of 23 from the Stetson Hatcher School of Business and Economics, where she has completed an MBA degree. She's just joining our team as career consultant. We're really excited about that. I'm also joined by another Mercer Bear, Latoya Moore. Stand up and say hello, Latoya.
Hello.
Latoya Moore is currently enrolled at Mercer University. She attends the Henry County Regional Academic Center. She's a student that I've gotten to know probably over the last year very, very well, and she's in the College of Professional Advancement. She is majoring in communications, and she expects to complete her degree in 2025. I thought it was really important tonight to bring a new graduate to help me speak to you about career fairs and career expos, as well as a current student, because both of these young women leaders have recently attended a career fair at Mercer, and they have some tips to offer you tonight so that you won't have to hear my voice the entire time. So I think we'll just get started with just talking about the overview of the presentation. We're going to talk about what is a career fair, what is a career expo, Why are we using different words there? And then what about a job fair? If I hear the terminology job fair, what are the differences? How do I consider whether or not to attend? And what do I expect out of attending such an event? What do I do before the fair? How do I prepare my resume so that it's my best? How to speak confidently with employers, what to say to employers if you're unsure what you're looking for. And like I told you, we're going to hear a student's perspective of the Fall Career Expo. Latoya's got some sharing for us. And then I also just want to walk you through some steps in Handshake about how to register for the upcoming career fair and career expo that we have. So right away, we're just going to level set with the terminology, career fair and job expo. Those are the phrases that we use here at Mercer University pretty equally. They don't have a huge difference other than expo is a word that we really hope communicates to you the magnitude of a very large venue with many employers. So for example, a career fair may only have 5, 10, or 20 employers. It may have 40 employers. But here at Mercer, our career expo usually has about 100 employers. Also some grad schools from here at the university as well. When we hear the phrase job fair, this is a phrase we don't typically use here at Mercer, but you will hear this if you're watching the news or getting announcements from LinkedIn or other professional sources. You may hear the phrase job fair. It can mean the same thing as a career fair, but it does put you more in this mindset of jobs and job offers. We can talk about that a little bit later as to what that means. When we here at Mercer talk about career fairs and career expos, we really mean a college talent recruiting event. And so we are not necessarily offering lots and lots of other jobs that may not require the college level education here. I hope that's helpful. Also, you'll hear virtual career fair or virtual job fair or virtual expo. So of course, when we add that word to the phrase, it's going to indicate that that is a completely 100% online event. And those are very valuable events too. Certainly we here in the Center for Career and Professional Development had to pivot to those during our pandemic. We have seen lots of value come out of those. If you have an opportunity to attend a virtual career fair, we don't have any coming up at Mercer right now that are virtual, but if you do have one offered by a professional association, anything like that, do give it some consideration. So how do you know if you should attend? One of the things that we have faced here at Mercer is that this career expo, this career fair is not at my campus. Should I be attending that? Is that meant for me in my degree program? So for example, if we're doing an event on the Atlanta campus, can Macon students attend or regional academic centers or even online learners? The answer is yes. Vice versa for the Macon campus. So I really want to set in terms of this, who is permitted to attend. If it is a Mercer University career fair or career expo, that is wide open to all Mercerians from all campus locations and degree programs. But sometimes on other websites, professional associations may limit their attendance to membership, or like in the field of education, they may limit attendees to currently certified educators. You just have to look at some of the language that's in the description of the event to know that if there's any limitations at all. So is the fair going to be virtual or in person? Again, the ones that are coming up here at Mercer are all in-person events. And where is it going to be held? You may see that a career fair is being held at a large venue in the city of Atlanta or a large venue in Florida. You get the idea that the notion here is just to prepare your calendar adequately. The only thing that should ever prevent you from attending, if you have the eligibility to attend with whatever entity has put that communication out, as long as you're eligible to attend, all you have to do is plan accordingly. And we're going to talk about how you should know whether or not it's worth it, so to speak, whether or not you should take a car drive, 50 miles or 30 miles or battle the Atlanta traffic. How do I know if I should attend? We're going to talk about that. But mostly in this particular moment is, does my calendar allow time? And if it doesn't, do I want to purposefully carve out time on my calendar for this event? And some of that is going to hinge back to, do I think it's worth it? And we're going to talk about, looking at the employer list and things like that. But again, all of the Mercer career fairs and career expos are open to all students. Right off the bat, I want to just set some expectations about what to expect from your experience. I'm really going to start honing in now on Mercer's career fairs and career expo because I want to really focus in on those. They're very, very strategically built events, especially for you. These are employers that are specifically seeking Mercer talent. So for us, let's just think for a moment, what happens at the career fair? Will I get a job offer at the career fair in Mercer, Macon, or Atlanta? Will I get an interview scheduled that day? Will I be interviewed on the spot that day? Will I leave that career fair with a connection or a contact that I didn't have beforehand? And what will you gain by attending? And how will you know if it's worth it? Right away, I want to just talk. Maybe I could see if Latoya would help me out here a little bit with what she expected before she came down to the Career Expo in the fall, and how she might advise you on some of these expectations. Would you mind sharing?
The expectations
whatever you have on your mind.
Okay.
Expectations maybe going down to the fair and how you definitely changed your mind once you got it.
Yeah, expectation wise, my only experience of the career fair has been the ones I've seen on television, right? So you got this big old event hall with all these different employers. And so going into that, I expected that, but it was totally different. The environment, the moment you walk through the door, it's so like reaffirming and confirming that I do belong here and that these people are here for me. And this is a great opportunity. This is a great experience. And that this is my opportunity to make the next step in my career while I'm still in undergrad and post graduation. So it gave me different things to think about, just being open-minded.
Yeah. So it might have been just a little bit overwhelming. I remember the day that Latoya walked into the Career Expo in Macon, and it's a little nerve-wracking, but I want to just say right off the bat, generally there are not job offers made at a career fair or the Mercer Career Expo. We think of this event as connections and networking and learning, and an opportunity for you to become career ready, build confidence, and get prepared for representing yourself. But of course, we hope the outcome, after a couple of series of steps, based on this good connection, the outcome would be an interview and ultimately an offer. But right away, that day that you're visiting the fair and you're in that moment, you would not really expect to have an offer that day. However, you may feel like you're being interviewed because some of the recruiters might really feel that connection with you and want to ask you more questions, or maybe they're going to pull you over to the side and have a little bit more of a dialogue. You could have that feeling. You could also leave that conversation with something on your calendar for a phone call or a virtual talk soon thereafter, and that is a win. I love that when that happens. This third bullet, will I leave with a contact? Wait, I sure hope so. Because I'm going to tell you, and I know you already know this, in today's virtual job search world, where everything's online, the application portals are online, there's just so many times you can't get to a human being. So Mercer's Career Center staff, we work very hard on our employer relations side to make sure we're bringing employers that, first of all, want to talk to you and that you want to talk to. We want you to make that human connection. So even if a recruiter happens to run out of business cards, maybe they forgot them, my hope is that you will write their name down and their email address, because that is part of a major reason why you came. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And what will you gain from attending the career fair? I'm going to go back over that. It's networking, learning, practicing, becoming confident, and building your career readiness skills. We're going to talk more about, was it worth it? But if you can drive away from that experience or walk away knowing that you've made a good connection with a recruiter or two at a company or employer that you felt inclined to know more about, that in and of itself is a huge win. And also, don't forget, you have an entire Career Center team behind you, career consultants that you can work with individually that can help you make additional contacts with that recruiter. So I hope that's helpful. First off, we've got to talk about Handshake. We won't have her here long. We could do an entire workshop about Handshake. But just in case you may not know what Handshake is the career development platform at Mercer University. All Mercer students have a Handshake account, so it's not something you have to register for or sign up for. You already have a Handshake account from the first day of class. So all you have to do is log into Handshake at mercer.joinhandshake.com. If you have never done that, that's okay. You can do that now. I'd also encourage you to download the free Handshake app that's available on Android devices as well as Apple devices. Having the app will exponentially increase your ability to connect with employers and to learn about events that are happening to help you with your internship endeavors and also jobs. So please do pay attention to Handshake and go into the desktop and the mobile app often. All of the registrations for our career fairs and career expos are inside of Handshake. So right off the bat, the first career fair that I have on our schedule that's coming up from today is a week from now on February 8th. We are offering the Educator Career Fair. This is our 34th annual Educator Career Fair. We've been doing this for a while. And this one's going to be on the Mercer Atlanta campus. And this career fair would be intended for any Mercerian who's majoring in education already or majoring in another discipline and considering the field of teaching or another certified opening in a school district. So I'll give you an example. We have about 45 Georgia local school systems. I think we have 2 out-of-state school systems registered right now, and we also have a few independent schools that are registered. So these will be school administrators and HR representatives at this fair on the Atlanta campus. If you are a Macon student and you are attending an education program or a science, a foreign language, any of the humanities, even music, if you're considering a career path, maybe you don't know yet, you are invited to come and explore the world of work in the field of education. We will have a charter bus that will bring students from the Macon campus to the Atlanta campus on February 8th. So all you got to do is hop on a comfy charter bus and we'll take care of you and we're going to feed you that day to just come and learn and network and practice. So we can't say that enough. And if you are an education student, please don't hesitate to attend because maybe it's your first year or second year. You don't have to be a senior to attend ready to be recruited right off the bat. So at this Educator Career Fair, we will offer free professional portraits as we always do at the Mercer events. And that just gives you that professional headshot portrait that allows you to use your photos for professional purposes. We have a university photographer there that will be doing photos free of charge for all Mercerians. You can see the registration link on the screen if you're interested in this one. This is going to drive your registration to Handshake. The next event I want to make sure is on your radar is the Mercer Career Expo. This is the very large mega event. This one is held at the Macon campus on February 21st. It's from 10 to 2, and I don't even know how many years we've been doing this one. It's probably more than 34 years. But this is our signature recruiting event. It's an all majors event, all degree levels. It's appropriate for both undergraduates and graduate level students. I can tell you that the employers that come to Career Expo are very, very eager to recruit Mercer talent in all the disciplines. Certainly there will be some employers there who may say that they're targeting engineers or that they're targeting an accounting major, but certainly most of those employers, even if that may be the first recruiting goal on their mind, they are also, they also have plenty of other positions available. This registration also takes place in Handshake. Again, this was on February 21st. It's open to any Mercer student from any location. So before the career fair, what do we need to be taking care of right now? We have a week before the education career fair. We have 3 weeks before the Career Expo in Macon. And I can tell you right off the bat, preparation is key. You're going to want to make sure to register for the fair in Handshake. And that just lets us know that you're coming. When you put your name on the registrant list, it just allows us to communicate with you, share some tips with you, making sure that you're feeling confident and encouraged about attending. So hopefully you won't get too nervous to back out. We also have a goal to help you get your resume ready. You want to spend time now getting your resume ready. That resume needs to be updated, and it also needs to showcase your Mercer degree program with your most current projects or any course highlights, any internships you've done. Just make sure it's up to date, I would say first, but secondly, make sure that it's representing your Mercer education and your Mercer experience to the best of your ability, because you've done so many things in the classroom and with your projects and even engaged learning and service learning out in the field. So make sure your resume reflects that. Take some time in your Handshake app on your phone or on your desktop to peruse the list of participating employers. We looked today, I think there are 72 employers registered in this current moment for the Expo. Again, we're aiming for 100. We will likely not stop until we get 100. Research and find at least 10 of them that you can click the follow button for in Handshake. And that's going to tell Handshake, I'm interested in this employer, or I don't know much about the employer, but I know I want to get more information. So that's really helpful. Start preparing your elevator pitch. And if you haven't heard that phrase, that's just that 1 to 2 minute pitch that you give to someone when you walk up to them and you shake their hand and you introduce yourself. So you want to spend time preparing your elevator pitch. And that doesn't have to be stressful. Remember, you know you very well. Also remember that the Career Center has staff all around the career fairs that you can ask for assistance in the moment, but you can also schedule appointments with us now and let us see how best to empower you and coach you with getting your elevator pitch ready. Also, I can't say this enough, prepare your clothing. You will need professional attire to wear to the career fair and the Career Expo. So think about what you would wear for a job interview. That would be the appropriate attire for that day. I recommend a blazer if you have one. And if you need assistance thinking about what to wear or asking specific questions, again, that's why you have a whole Career Center team here. You can send us emails. You can check out our social media streams. I know we've had some photos and different things posted. You want to map out your drive, again, because you may be driving from another Mercer location. You may be a distance learner who lives across the state line who's very eager to come because you saw a particular set of employers that you're interested in. But just make sure to intentionally look at your calendar and make a plan for your drive and your parking on the Atlanta campus or Macon campus. And by the way, your Mercer ID card is all you need to get in any of these venues at any Mercer campus. Your parking decal from your home campus is all you need. If you're a distance learner and you do not have a parking decal, no worries. Come see me, come see a staff member. We'll talk to you if you're having any troubles with parking. Before the fair, you want to take time to look at that target employer list that you've spent time looking at in Handshake and pick some that you want to look up. Pull up another tab and let's look at those employers on their website. Check out their mission, vision, purpose, their DEI statement, their core values. Take a look at their current openings. Get familiar. One of the things I can say about our Career Expo is that some of the employers may not be a recognizable Fortune company or name, but that does not mean that that is not a hugely credible employer with multiple openings. So take time to get to know even the ones you don't recognize. Browse some job openings. Start to get an idea of what is in the position description. Every position description talks about the ideal candidate or the ideal fit. You kind of get a sense of what fit you might be, or maybe a selling point that you could offer to a recruiter that fits with a current initiative there or something. Take time to look at that culture, follow, maybe take a look at their social media. But again, I can't say this enough, follow that employer in Handshake. That will pay dividends with what Handshake can do for you, with keeping you alerted about opportunities even in the future. You definitely want to take time to prepare your documents. Now, if you don't know, we have a huge repository of recorded webinars on resume development. You can see one pictured here called Resume Clinic, one called Writing an Effective Resume. We probably have at least 100 recorded webinars and presentations like this one on our YouTube channel. So just go to the Center for Career and Professional Development YouTube channel. Some of those might be a 30-minute, some of those might be a 45 or 50-minute, but just like anything, you can listen to them in audio format, sort of like a podcast. You could, fast forward through different sections if they're not valuable, but I can't tell you enough. These are really important resources for you to be empowered with developing your best resume, getting it ready for the career fair. If you should want individual assistance, what are we going to do? We're going to make an appointment. The Career Center team, we all have individual appointments, and we're here to serve you in those individual appointments, and we will say to you, how can I be helpful to you? Of course, inside that appointments portal and Handshake, it's also going to ask you what assistance you're seeking today, and you can indicate resume or professional documents. During the career fair, when you first come in, Gimmick and I were talking about this earlier. What was it like those first few minutes that you came into the career fair, and what did you do? So these tips, I'm going to let Ginika talk about these because she shared them with me earlier as a strategy she used.
So one of the first things that I did when I walked in before I walked in, was I spent a few minutes looking at the participating employers and kind of, decided which ones I was most interested in seeing. So I did this with the handout that they gave me at check-in, but you can also access this list on the Handshake app. So then I walked in, I just walked around like throughout the fair, just tried to see kind of a lay of the land. I didn't speak to anybody yet, but I just kind of wanted to get familiar with where the employers that I would want to see were. And then I identified the employers that I wanted to speak to first. But one thing that Kim and I were talking about too, a helpful tip would be to speak to an employer that maybe isn't your top target, just so that you're comfortable speaking to them and you kind of know about what you want to say, so you're not nervous when you're going to your top picks. So, throughout the event, definitely keep encouraging yourself and then get comfortable being uncomfortable. And you're going to be uncomfortable. You might face rejection as well, or some sort of rejection. It might not be an interaction that you initially wanted to have, but we're gonna talk about learning how to pivot from that as well. And then set a goal for yourself to talk to at least 5 to 10 employers. Like Kim mentioned, our goal is to have about 100 employers there. So talking to 5 to 10 of them, I think, is a good goal, a manageable goal you guys can set for yourselves.
And that's true, even if you're attending a professional conference that's coming up.
Yeah.
Many of the professional national conferences will have a career fairs, quasi-career fair or something. Even if you're working the exhibit hall at a conference, many of these tips are applicable to that kind of venue as well. And so just set a goal to sort of make yourself talk to more people than you might have initially planned. I really liked Genika's tip about getting the lay of the land. That helped me earlier when she said that. She said she walked through the whole venue and gave herself maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes before she even said, okay, now I'm going to go talk to somebody. I love that as tips, Genika. Thank you. So the first thing that you want to do when you come up to a recruiter is shake their hand, right? And so surprisingly, not everyone knows a proper handshake. And so hopefully the images here will help you to know that that handshake comes all the way in. It's not really a finger squeeze. So take some time to practice with a friend if you need to. Don't feel embarrassed about anything. Just making sure that you make eye contact and smile. And just be confident. You're a Mercer student. You are here for a reason. And we know that Mercer students are multi-talented and employers are just so eager to meet with you and talk with you. So hopefully practicing the handshake will give you some confidence when that beginning moment starts of introducing yourself. You just want to give your name and you want to say, I'm a Mercer University student. Maybe Latoya would say, I am a communications major. I'm scheduled to graduate in the May of 2025. And I'm here because I want to learn about the opportunities in your company. She might even say, I noticed on Handshake that you had XYZ job opening or on your website. Could you tell me more about that? Again, it's just about a 1 or 2 minute elevator pitch, if you will, with a handshake. Now, one of the things that I think is helpful beyond that elevator pitch, when you've gotten through that introduction, is to ask questions. If you're there to learn, I think some of the way I can relieve some of your worries is to put the ball in the recruiter's court. How do you do that? You're going to ask them questions. These are just a handful of questions. Honestly, these questions came right out of our student check-in packet that we gave to students at the Fall Career Expo. By the way, we do give you an excellent packet of information and materials to empower you right when you get there. And again, it's also in the app. So these questions are absolutely suitable, but you want to spend a lot of time listening. Ask these questions or others. We can work with you if you want to learn some others. And just listen. If an employer seems maybe to give you some vibes that they're in a rush because they maybe see 12 students standing behind you, that is okay. I do want you to sort of be cognizant of that time. You don't want to take up 20 minutes of their time, but don't rush. Take the time to learn the information that you came to learn. Because even if you see an employer such as Waffle House or Chick-fil-A at our Career Expo, I bet you probably know some obvious type jobs that would exist there, but I bet you may not know the management leadership programs that they have, the co-ops and internships that they have. So I want you to just ask questions and learn about even the employers you think you know all about, because there's so much more beyond our initial awareness of these employers. One of the things that you can do at the Career Expo on February 21st or at any other venue is purposefully ask if that employer offers internships. We know internships are so valuable to students. Even if an internship is not required, we certainly recommend those. Some best practices, I'm pretty sure everybody knows how to smile and be pleasant. I do recommend that in your handshake. Have confidence. This second to the last bullet about examples and stories, I cannot tell you enough. That is very important. I know that each of you can think of your Mercer experience. Think about how hard you've worked in the classroom and even outside of the classroom. So many of you are making wonderful contributions on campus and out in the community, whether or not it's affiliated with Mercer. Take some quiet time to develop some stories before you go and be ready to have 2 or 3 stories where you've made some good contributions. It doesn't have to be an experience where you were working to earn a paycheck. It could be a community service project or some work you've even done on campus. Offering stories and examples keeps that conversation engaged. It lets the employer know you are interested in talking to them. And really, they learn a lot about you and your poise and your confidence level and what you're interested in. Review key qualifications when they're telling you what they're looking for. It's okay to summarize those. Okay, maybe I'm not ready for the internship this summer. Perhaps I would be ready for an internship at your organization in the summer of 25. You can reframe that. Make sure you understand the qualifications that the employers are talking about. Now, Ginika talked to me earlier about the need sometimes to pivot. She recognized that some conversations, just because we're human, just because interactions are never predictable, that there was just a need to pivot. We want to talk about that now, and Ginika wants to offer you some tips that she has found helpful.
So with the power of the pivot, there are times in conversations where you might go into a conversation expecting a certain outcome, and sometimes you don't hear what you'd like to hear. So that can be a little disheartening, but that doesn't mean that the conversation should close. So step 1 of pivoting in my eyes is to remain calm and to stay positive. So again, it's acknowledging that the conversation might not have gone how you wanted it to go, but don't let that show in your face or your demeanor. There's always a way you can come out of it. So step 2 is acknowledge and seek clarity. So say, for example, you ask them about a particular job that you're interested in, and that employer says, oh, we don't have that available. It's okay to, acknowledge that and then seek clarity in terms of asking them, well, I know you don't have this job available now, but, inquiring about what the ideal candidate for that position might look like. Because just because they don't have the job this moment doesn't mean that it won't be down the line. So step 3 is also to express your adaptability. So also inquire about other roles that the company might offer, even if it is outside of what you originally wanted. And through that, you can also showcase your value, what you'll bring to the table, maybe some of your experience, some things that you're learning about or talking about in any of your classes, major projects, just how you can be of value to that company. And then you can also seek their advice. And you don't always have to just talk about the jobs that they have available, what you're interested in. You can talk about, something about the industry. So you can ask them, like, what's a certain aspect of the company that interests you or that you think that I might know. So the conversation can be pretty broad. And so next I have make contact. So that's making sure that you don't leave the conversation without at least making a connect, maybe asking for their business card or an email. And then through doing that, also following up. And part of what Kim talked about before, about making sure that, your LinkedIn, any of your professional accounts are up to date so that you can connect with your employer that you've made contact with through that.
That's really good advice. I have to confess, I don't tend to be super overwhelmed myself. So I maybe have forgotten that moment where when you're talking to an employer and things are not really flowing, they don't maybe seem so interested in talking to you, or maybe they have a one-track mind that's like, I don't know, I came to only find a communications intern today. There are so many other ways to engage that employer. So I encourage Mercerians to stay confident and calm. I love that. Encourage yourself to learn, ask other questions. I will tell you that the folks that come to Mercer's Career Fair and Career Expos, they've been coming, many of them, for many, many years. There's a deep affection for Mercer. Most people are very delighted to speak about their profession. I mean, don't dare ask me about mine. I might talk to you for 2 hours. Anyway, I'm sure that's not a surprise. But even just asking about their job role, get them talking. You don't have to shut down.
Yeah.
You just pivot. Make sure to pivot. I love that advice. Thank you.
Yeah, and then next we're talking about present opportunities versus future opportunities. So going into a career fair, job fair, you don't always have to come in with the expectation of landing a job or an interview. So these are just kind of ways that you can indicate what your interests are. So if you are going into the job fair looking for present opportunities, one of the best things you can do is highlight your skills to the employer, let them know what you bring to the table. Be clear on your goals and inquire about current openings. So this here is kind of specific to whatever that employer might be offering at the moment. But on the other side of that, if you want to go to a career fair, anybody is welcome, like we talked about before, but you might not necessarily be ready for a present opportunity. So you can use this as a time to practice, to network, but just be curious, be open, ask questions, let your interests be known. So let them know that although you might not be searching for something at the moment, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be a time down the line where you're ready or something comes up that really interests you. And then inquire about growth opportunities and potential career paths. Because like we talked about before, sometimes employers come in with the expectation of only talking to a certain set of students or future employers, but there's also other offerings the company does have. So you're always more than welcome to ask about those. I'm sure they'll be delighted to let you know.
I remember Ginika sharing with me the wealth of information that she came from the Fall Career Expo. She was sort of on a track mind, I hope you don't mind, finding HR internships or HR entry point jobs. And so I think by the time she got a few employers into the experience, was able to pivot and figure out, man, there's a lot of things here that are interesting me and programs that I didn't know existed. So her mind opened up and she just pivoted and learned how to really seize the moment there. And I love that. So you heard Ginika mention LinkedIn and professional profiles. Again, if you're getting ready to go to any career fair, career expo, professional conference of any sort related to your professional interests, you want to make sure that you have a formal email signature so that your communications come professional, that your email address is professional. I can't tell you that how many times I may get an email from a student that doesn't have a signature. So without their name and their Mercer email, I wouldn't know who they are. So just a simple email signature with your university, maybe your college, your major, your class of designation, or your graduation date would be adequate. But LinkedIn is something the Career Center is here to help you with. Any of us can help you make sure that that's employer ready. If you wish, I highly recommend before you attend professional networking at any event that you have those things ready. Monitor postings for your target employers in Handshake. Now, this is something we're going to say is really important after that career fair for you to keep on your campaign. Even if your campaign is future focused, because like I'm going to use Latoya, she's graduating in 2025, she would still be very wise at working her connections and contacts from the Career Expo, even 2 months after the expo. And of course, we're only talking about weeks here. You certainly don't want to be too persistent, but I think that you should collect the contact and keep the contact and be willing to follow up later. Again, after the career fair, it's really customary for you to send a thank you email to really those recruiters, I would say the ones that you've made a solid connection with. There was some interest in what they had to say. They spent some time investing in you and giving you advice, even if it is for future purposes. Or maybe there was an opportunity that you didn't dare want to be looked over for. Do take time to send a formal business communication email thanking them, reminding them that you met them at the Mercer University Career Expo or the XYZ conference that you attended, and thank them for something they offered you in some nugget in that conversation, if you will, because that also communicates how much you were listening and how much you value what they had to say. Connect on LinkedIn is a great idea, and apply for opportunities. Don't forget that we want you to come into Handshake and actually apply for the opportunities you've learned about and or the employer's websites, and watch for future events. We've got just best interview practices about knowing that you're selling yourself, keeping your responses concise and focused. Never say anything negative about a previous internship experience or employer experience, and always have questions prepared. And I think we've covered business card and emphasizing your interest. Many of you who are participating in this tonight, I believe, are campus organization leaders. And I know that you have made some contributions on campus in student leadership roles, in student ambassador roles, and in campus employment roles. So please don't forget to emphasize those. You can't know everything about everything, but you do know your story, and you are the best person to share that story. A little piece of advice. So if you need assistance, again, the Center for Career and Professional Development is here to provide that for you. This is just a screenshot of Handshake, the desktop feature, and showing you that we have appointments. I'm going to pivot really quickly to show you how to register for the career fair. Can I do that? Okay. So I'm logged into my Handshake account, and I'm on the beginning dashboard. And what I want to do to register is to come to the events tab. You can see that Handshake immediately offers some very large filters. There's buttons here that you can hit to filter, but right off the bat, I know that I can hit career fairs at your school. You'll see the two that we've spoken about tonight, and I want to indicate here, this ribbon is just an indicator that I want to follow this event. You don't have to feel afraid of the ribbons. I can follow both of the events if I want. Handshake is using AI like many other sites, so it's just learning from your user experience what you're interested in, because it's going to ultimately curate and customize the information that you receive. So that's actually very helpful. But if I want to register for the event, I'm going to come to, let's do the educator fair. Again, this one's coming up on February 8th in Atlanta on the Mercer Atlanta campus. Move the Zoom control. And all I have to do to register for this event is click join event. It's pretty simple. If I determine that I'm no longer able to attend this event due to scheduling conflicts or illness or something, It's not necessary on this particular event, but you can just simply leave the event. It's really that easy, and you don't have to feel afraid of that button. So I think I'm going to register myself for this educator career fair. And in order to see the participating employers, I need to click this See More Employers button. And this will be a long list of the employers, and you guys heard me talking about the follow button. I can even view details and expand or collapse what these various employers have included in their profiles. And I can sort them. Right off the bat, you can see they're in alphabetical order. Now, if I'm following a couple of employers, I can also look at who's coming to this fair that I'm following. And you can see that I have a few. This is keeping me reminded of my targets. To get back to the Career Expo, I'll click that filter again and come over here and just click anywhere in that dialog box. Again, this is a mega career fair. It's going to have a lot more employers here, so you're going to probably need a little bit more time to peruse the list. But again, join the event. Now, at the Educator Career Fair, I should say this, we are very specific in looking at that attendee list because we want to pre-print name badges for you with the area of your major and so forth. At the Career Expo, we use special printers that when you check in using your NUID at the kiosk for check-in, it's automatically going to print a name badge. So the pre-registration is not as necessary for the Expo, although we love it because it tells us how many students are really getting excited about the event. But for the Educator Career Fair, we would really like to ask you to pre-register. So let's click here to see more employers. And again, we won't take a lot of time to go through all of these. There's going to be pages and pages of results. But when you see one that you're interested in, it's hyperlinked to an employer page in Handshake where you can learn more about that employer. And you can also see some contact information, which is very helpful. And you can see that I'm already following the Bluebird Corporation. I hope that that helps you really get motivated and excited about the Educator Career Fair on the 8th and the Expo. I know LaToya is planning to go to the Expo on the 21st. I will be there, as well as Yenica and the entire Career Center team. I hope this is helpful. What I'd like to do is open up right now if there are any questions, even if your questions are for LaToya or Yenica from their student experience. Can we just open up and ask questions?
Yeah, can I say something?
Yes, please, stand up.
I just, again, as a student, want to encourage you all to really take advantage of these resources. Like everyone here tonight, you're taking advantage of this workshop. And then again, thank you, Ms. Kim, for facilitating Yenica, you as well. One tip I did not give them,
Please.
is get to the expo, at a good enough time.
Tell me what that means.
Okay, so you can really maximize the experience. I got there within an hour of being over, did not really get to maximize my experience. So I would say definitely do that. And just, again, take advantage of these resources, even post Expo, contacting Ms. Kim, Ms. Yenica, and everyone else in the CCPD. They're here to reinsure our careers and post-graduation, so really just take advantage of, I think that's everything I just want to say that.
So if the Career Expo it's going to start at 10 a.m. And it ends at 2.
Yeah.
When do you suggest arriving?
I would say at least, you have at least 2 hours.
At least 2 hours.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, at least 2 hours. I think that's good because you get your photo taken, and then also you have that time to say, okay, I did prepare, so these are the employers I would like to speak to. Now you have the opportunity to lay out the land, the lay of the land, how did you say?
Lay of the land.
Yeah, and you have the opportunity to find those employers, and you're not rushing, and you're kind of able to take your time, and any questions that you may have had, you're able to ask those questions. And then also, Ms. Kim said it that, a lot of times it's employers that you may have never heard of, but you see a billboard or you see a poster board that catches your attention, piques your
Right.
interest, and now you have a whole new idea of something that you may want to do within your career. But yeah, it's just having those opportunities.
I appreciate that so much. To conclude, do you all have any questions? It's okay if you don't. I'm going to watch the chat for just a moment. Don't be afraid to unmute. You guys see that we're conversational. We're not presenting in such a formal manner that you're not able to unmute and participate with us.
I'll ask a question. Is there a particular color? I know like certain times when it comes to interviews, certain colors that's more like professional. So, and I'm not sure. It could be like a navy, it could be a gray, more neutral colors. Like, what would be your advice on that?
Professional,
Professional. Okay.
and I think the rest is up to a lot of opinions.
Okay.
Blazer, just making sure that your attire is customary for the industry you're seeking.
Gotcha.
Because we're seeing some shifts in what industry prefers what kind of attire. But I do think for a career fair, professional conference, or an expo, that a blazer, a skirt for those who prefer that, and also just making sure you have comfortable shoes. But all the traditional colors that you just shared, I think, are fine for you. That's a good question. I'm sure if you Google that, you can see lots and lots of opinions on it. Comfortable shoes, folks. I can't say that enough. The venues, especially if you're going to a large national conference, or like the University Center in Macon has that tile flooring, and it can get complicated if you're wearing heels or uncomfortable flat shoes, really. So just think about being on your feet for a couple of hours. Okay. Let's see. What's a good strategy for navigating through so many employers?
I think one good strategy we talked about, Kim and I, we talked about this earlier. And I think it would benefit you kind of getting there a little earlier as well. But going when they're not surrounded by so many people, because for the most part, you want to be able to have a conversation with them. And that can get kind of hard to stand out when you're standing with 15 other people who also want to talk to the same employer. So maybe coming there a little earlier, and then just going at a time where there's not so many people around them.
And, a busy career fair, a busy venue may not offer you a good break, especially with a very widely known employer, but you can still kind of keep a watch out on the flow, to your point, and kind of just insert yourself at an optimal time, even if it's not very, very slow. The other thing is to do the pre-work. Now, I love pre-work, but I have to say, I'm also a fan of some happenstance conversations with those trade show banners she spoke about, the signs that say looking for interns. There's so many things that can catch your eye, so I do love for you to allow some time in your schedule. But you can be planful even with your resume preparation, have your portfolio, Padfolio with you. Maybe you've customized 5 resumes and you've devised a plan to go to those 5. I would also say leave some room in your calendar maybe for another 5 impromptu conversations. But just when you enter a venue with 100 employers, I mean, honestly, I cannot even speak to all 100 employers, and I try very hard to make sure that they get a proper Mercer greeting. But that's why we have a whole team of folks that disperse to go and greet them, because I can't even get to 100 employers, and that's not the goal. So try not to be too overwhelmed. Dr. Swanger has put a helpful tip in the chat. Let me see. Thank you. Watch your email. The program booklet for the job and internship expo typically comes out 5 to 7 days in advance and is delivered right to your email via our weekly newsletter. That's so helpful, Dr. Swanger. Thank you. Would it be helpful to offer employers not just our resume, but our LinkedIn QR code to get in contact? I think very, very much so, but you're gonna need to read that employer with that connection piece, right? You sort of have an intrinsic knowledge of a conversation where an employer is very interested in continuing the conversation or connecting with you. Use that as a gauge. But I think that's a great offering to connect via LinkedIn QR code. Yeah, I use mine. Other question? Now is your time, even if it's specific to a particular event.
Question. Is there a cutoff time for the photographs, for the portraits? Is it
Okay,
like the last 30 minutes, no more photos, which?
good question. Latoya is asking about the cutoff time for the university photographer who's taking the portraits. We just ask that photographer to be there for the duration of the event. So the educator career fair is 11 to 1, so that photographer is available from 11 to 1. The career expo is 10 to 2, same as true there. So you can really pick and choose. Maybe you need a break because if you get a little extroverted out, you might take a little 20-minute break to go get your portrait and then come back and work the fair. So that could be a good break in there. Good question. On the day of the career expo, lunch is not provided to students. At the education career fair, we had a unique sponsor this year who is providing a limited number of box lunches to the students attending the educator career fair in Atlanta. That's a good question because if you really came to Career Expo ambitious for that 10 to 2 time range, you might have to take a break in there to get some hydration and some nourishment there. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate that question. I hope this presentation has been impactful. Follow us on our Center for Career and Professional Development social media streams. I would say if you love Instagram, you'll find our Instagram stream very helpful. Ginica helps us with those posts and some of our other team members. We try to make sure that the messages there are on point, not only about our events and happenings, but also about your career readiness and tips to empower you. So please pull out your phone and pull up our Instagram or Facebook and follow us. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for the Mercer University Center for Career and Professional Development. Thanks, Brian. Glad you joined us today. I hope to see all of your names on the registration list. And if there's nothing else, I think we'll conclude. Thank you for joining. You will receive the link to the recording as a result of your registration. And I did want to just pop on the screen one more time that QR code in case anybody needs it. If you did not get checked in, you maybe came late, feel free to scan this QR code to get checked in. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.